And let me welcome you once again on today's Tech Hour about our one of the newest feature that came with the version 8.3.2. So our last release, and that will be Mobile Page Designer. With me, there is also Francisco, my colleague from our Academy trainers. Hello, Francisco. He will be assisting me during the presentation, maybe.
Hi,
Yeah.
everybody.
Uh, I hope maybe you will have some additional questions toward me, Francisco. If so, please let me know. Meanwhile, let me quickly share my screen. And as always, let me go to the application hub, right? Because the feature that I'm going to present, of course, is something that I know that a lot of people were waiting for, especially for Creatio mobile application. So this is something that we are going to use quite intuitively as our drag and drop designer for the desktop pages. So today, the presentation is going to be rather short and simple, but I would like to point out some great features, maybe some to spot some differences. But again, if you're designing the pages for the record or lists on the desktop, that should be very intuitive and easy to go for you. So the plan for today would be to present a rather simple edit page for the mobile version of Creatio. And we are going to do something relatively obvious because I'm going to reach out to our Customer 360 app. And for that, we're going to create a contact edit page for the mobile version. So the first quite easy thing to spot would be that whenever we're going to create a new page for our application, that is to manage our objects, right? You can see the clear division between the web pages and mobile app pages. Many apologies for the performance of my internet and device. Uh, of course, there should be set of icon over here. Maybe let me briefly refresh the page for the better preview, and let me start over. Okay, so once I will click on the new page, you can see, okay, now it's better. You can see that it is clear division what we are going to design, and that is like differentiation, what will be applied and available for depending on the device, of course, right? Because as for now, we can select few of the mobile templates. There are four of them. First of all, which is very blank. Second, list page mobile. Second, record page mobile. And the first one that you can see over here is tabbed page mobile. We're going to use the first one, and let me quickly explain you why. So the difference that you're going to spot in between the templates, of course, the list, I believe that you already know, and it is going to show you the list of the object of the given section. Pardon me. But as for the tabbed page, the difference between the blank one and the edit record page is basically those two tabs that you can see above. So the details and the attachments. In the previous templates, we are going to have either empty slot for the representation of our mobile device, or there won't be eight tabs available and only one area. So I decided to go with this one because I know that for many users, it is very important to see the attachments towards the record. But again, as you can see, the interface of the mobile app designer is almost identical as the one for the desktop pages. So first of all, let me click on the title of the page to go to the general setting, and let me quickly change the title to contact edit page. I'm not going to change it to the form page. Of course, it is going to be visible in the application hub, but also So it will be easier to differentiate between the desktop pages um, and the form pages. I'm going to keep that name convention over here. The same would go for the code. Pardon me that I didn't change my prefix, but for the presentation reason, the default value over here should suffice, of course. So this is the naturally first step of what we usually do during our edits and during the presentations, during the setup of the pages. So the second step that I would like to do is, of course, to add a data source for the given page, because we need to reach out to the specific object, especially that we're building a contact form page. So existing data source, that's our to go. And I am going to select a contact. Let me select it. And here we are. So also, it is possible to set up business rules to show, hide elements, so far and so forth. We're not going to dive into that. This is, again, a brief presentation of the new mobile page designer. So, first of all, as you can see, once I have added a data source, now I am available to reach out to the columns of the given object. But before I will drop anything, or any columns on the page. Oh yeah, Francisco, please go ahead and feel free to interrupt.
Sorry, Matt. Sorry to interrupt. It's just that I was noticing here in the menu in the library where we have all those different possibilities for our page. In the top where we have the fields, there seems to be less fields than usual for the desktop page. Is this normal in this
Oh yeah, that's
option?
perfectly normal behavior, and thank you very much, Francisco, for pointing that out. This is actually a good pin and actually good place to ask that question, as we just added the source of the page. But yeah, let me quickly go back to the application hub and open the existing contacts form page. So even though the data sources of both pages, they are identical, for the mobile version of the page, there is fewer there is a fewer of the fields available, or the data type fields, right? So if you will compare, definitely we are missing color, encrypted string, and few more. But again, so the list is a little bit shorter. Also, what you may face and you may notice is that the data model attributes that already exist for the given object, right? They are going to be applicable and available only for the data types that are available and prepared for the mobile version of the page. So this is like a very good observation. Thank you for your keen eye,
Thank you
Francisco.
for the explanation. Thank you.
Great. So let me quickly roll that up, meaning the data source in our contact object on the left side panel. And first of all, let's take a look on the list of the components. Again, it is a little bit shorter. Yes, Francisco.
I'm sorry. A very similar question, but just because, well, again, I'm used more to the desktop version than the mobile one, which is new. And I also only see a few components here, missing a lot of things. Is there any prediction of any newer components being introduced later on?
Yeah, this is also true. So thanks for asking again.
Mm.
As Francisco mentioned, we have prepared on the roadmap few improvements, or few, it's maybe understatement, definitely. But I already took a peek of what we have prepared for you. So for the later releases, you may expect definitely a feed component, contact communication option. Sorry, I focus on the contact. So communication option that is well known from you from the contact form page or any other pages related to the contact records. So those are going to be introduced with the future releases. Again, this is the first version of the product, and we're going to expand it and develop it for the future. And it is very promising. I already love the possibilities that it already gives you. But again, also one thing to mention, it does not mean that you're going to uh, desert and totally cancel your classic UI version of the mobile Creatio mobile. Yeah, of course, we still give you possibility to go with the older version if you feel free to use it, but our focus is on the new tool that I hope you will like as much as I do. So, as we're still in the components, the list is definitely shorter than our desktop application. Also, if you will take a look into the release notes, you may also find that there are some beta components in feature toggling. So, if you would like, please feel free to visit Academy website, go to the release notes, test some beta version. One of them, as far as I remember, it is Progress Bar. So you can also feel free to test them on your own. And again, as our team is also waiting for feedback from you as customers, as Creatio users, and I know the feedback really, really counts because with every single release, the products are being improved and working smoother and better and better. So, yep, coming back to our contact edit page, I'm going to drag and drop the contact compact profile, my favorite name of component, phonetically, of course. Nonetheless, I am going to place it on the top of the page. And from the standpoint of UI, I believe that you already know, it is worth to keep in mind the containers and the structure of the template, right? I note that I didn't place it like below or anything on anywhere else, because keep in mind that this is a tab component. So depending which type I have got open, it is going to take that much space itself, right? So I believe that for the preview of a contact, it would be better to place the contact compact profile. Let's do the other way, above our tabs, exactly as here. So meaning that if we will switch in between the tabs, we will still know about which contact we're making changes of. Sorry about that. Grammar sentence. And by the way, as you know, and as you use the compact profile, note that what happened is that automatically I have selected as the data source for the component, meaning that it is going to show me the information about the name, birth date, the country, and the picture from the contact that the page we have got currently open. So let's get some more info in regards of the records on our page. So let's maybe start from the label itself, right? So first thing to do would be to go with some general information about the person, right? So first of all, that would be a profile. And let's change the style for the headline 3 as it works a little bit better visually, in my personal opinion. So, as we have got that, let me roll down the data source of our page, which is contact object, and we are going to drag out and use some of already existing data model attributes. So first of all, we're going to drop the information about the account that the contact is assigned to, right? And basically note that nothing needs to be done. Maybe we're going to disable adding new values, right? That's why we have our account section for to make changes. We're not going to do that through the mobile page. Mm, Or actually, we can, of course, Stefan, change the contact compact profile. I mean, the data source, of course, but it requires some parameters. Our goal, at least for the page and the way I use the component itself, right, was to show what contact I'm going through, because I could use, let's say, the full name column over here, but I believe that the component itself fits better towards the aesthetic for once. But if you would like to, you could also use the contact compact profile to show the information about, for instance, owner of the given account. So in that way, you need to, of course, go to the data source, select the value of value from another field, go to related objects, go to accounts, and then reach out to the contact lookup for the related object or the existing one. So thank you for pointing that out, and I hope I understood the question correctly, of course. Nonetheless, coming back to the first area that we're still holding up, we have got information about the account. Now, let's maybe also scroll down a little bit and get the information who that person is in terms of the professional manner, meaning that we're going to reach out for the full job title, right? So we know if it is a supplier, maybe it's CEO of the company, so far and so forth. I believe that might be quite a useful piece of information. Further, a good idea would be to add some of the contact information, contact info, which would be email. Again, this is rather short demo and present concept of how can we design the page itself. Spoiler for the future releases, as far as I'm considered, there are going to be out of the box pages for some of the applications, and I know that the teams are working on it. So in saying that, the contact is the best, is just best example for me to use as it is the most related object, I guess, in creation, right? Because I believe every one of you is working on this, on those records. So first area is available over here. So we have got some general information about the person, right? Also, what is worth to point out, and this is not any different in terms of and in comparison to our desktop version of the designer, right? Because in here we can also change the spacing of the row, meaning that we will have it a little bit more compressed if you need to save some space on the device, or maybe if, I don't know, you know that the users usually have like huge thumbs, so we can give them a little bit more space in between the lines, right? If they would like to change some of the values of the columns. Yeah, this is for you to set up freely in the drag and drop designer. I'm going to get with extra small to save a little bit space on my screen. So going further, let me collapse the data source as the contact object is quite wide. And let me go to layout elements and use the area. Of course, for that, I could use flex row or flex column, or I could simply drag something below. But again, the area as a layout element is quite good segmentation item. And this is quite important thing, but I believe that if you're using the drag and drop designer, you already know. Yes, to keep in mind where you're going to drop it. I'm going to drag out another area just to remove it quickly. This is something to point out. Yeah, so keep in mind where you're dropping it. Yeah, so in comparison with those two areas that I just dropped, they might be identical. It might not look that it is a little bit different, but even if you will click somewhere on the side or on different component, yeah, now you can even see that these areas are not that even. Yeah, so even though it is going to be adjusted to the width of the screen, the size is a little bit different. So the whole reason is to keep in mind that depending where you want to place it, because now if I will switch to the attachment, the second area will be still visible, right? So if you want to place an area for some more columns, some more components related to details of the contact or about the tab that you dedicated on the page itself, yeah, keep in mind to place it in the correct container. Okay, as I mentioned, I'm going to remove this one just to place some more contact info below. To be consequent and in line with the style, let's change the format, or sorry, style of the label back to headline 3. And now we're going to get a little bit more info from our contact columns. So first of all, uh, let's decide or let's get information what is the type of the given contact. So let's scroll down and let's drag out that column. Maybe, or maybe for sure, quite relevant information would be whom to reach out in order to get maybe some information about the given record. So the owner field that would be too good to go. Further, let's go with maybe a gender, title for the contact, and the last thing that might be also quite relevant with processing or working with the given person would be preferred language, which will be more or less like that. And again, I'm going to change a little bit space in between the rows just to save some space on the canvas. But again, keep in mind that that setting is just my personal preference because I would like to see a little bit more in order in terms of the spacing or the whole rows, or if it should be on the side, on the left, on the top. Always listen to your customer feedback in terms what should be relevant in terms what is needed and what is needed. End of story. Sorry. Okay. Now, uh, I would like to place another another area. So let me scroll down to layout elements, and of course, let me drag it inside of our details tab. So this time, I'm going to use expansion panel. And that piece of our contact edit page is going to be dedicated for the addresses of the contact. Addresses. Okay, so that's the first one. Let me, of course, scroll down a little bit so we know and we see what I'm doing. And for the better preview, and for that particular element, or part of the page, we're going to utilize another component. That would be, of course, the list. And by the way, what I would like to point out, note what is our mind and note the behavior of our expansion panel, right? So as I was dragging the list, we have got two containers assigned to this one, which is the first one, the most generic one, where you place the list itself and it is going to be adjusted like properly to the screen. And there is like a second smaller one. And this is like a heads up for you. Okay, now the list is not looking that bad on the preview. But for the smaller containers, use the smaller components or elements, right? Because later on it might be, looking quite bad on the phone. It might be looking baggish. So also keep in mind that in terms of the UI for your pages. So let me drop the list component in here. And for that object would be, of course, contact addresses. Contact addresses. So once we have added, we can, of course, go with the title column. That would be the address. I would refer back to this setting and the title column a little bit more once I will show you the list page for our contacts. It is not going to be like very fancy setting, but it is something that we most of you definitely can relate to whenever using the Customer 360 app. We use the list page a lot, so that would be quite relevant setup. And also for the picture, for the image, we're not going to use anything um, because not. What is also important is that whenever you're using the list on the page, especially edit page, right? It would be worth to apply filter by page data. So that's what we're going to do. And of course, we are going to compare what is a contact address. If sorry, we're going to compare the contact column value for the contact from the contact addresses object, and we're going to compare it with the ID of the contact that we currently have. Right? So the very, very basic filter, but it is worth and important to remember. Also, in comparison to the desktop version of our list component, right? I believe that you also know, and maybe most of you even do it that way, that you either set up the columns either in the runtime or in the design time. So in the drag and drop designer for the desktop pages, yeah, the component itself look a little bit different on the canvas. So for the columns to be set up, we have got to do it on the right side panel. So we are going to add few of them. What do we need? Definitely a city, maybe a country, just to be sure to which country that city belong, right? And and the address itself, right? So with these three columns, we are going to have our addresses composed. Next thing I would like to introduce for this particular area would be the button itself. So with the buttons, again, this is the first version of our drag and drop designer. I don't want to use that the list of the action is a little bit is limited. It is, of course, shortened in comparison to our desktop version, but there are those are the actions available. For that, we are going to open a new record, and as this is a button that is concerning our addresses, we're going to refer to the same object as our list, which will be contact. Sorry for spelling. Contact addresses. As we are not going to focus on the setup much, I'm not going to uh, go further with the settings, so I will not set up the columns or the proper contacts so far and so forth. This is rather an overview what should be done. So the best way for adding buttons would be to utilize just an icon, and I guess that the plus will definitely suffice, right? As it is quite intuitive that whenever you click on the plus button, you're going to add some values to the records. Though I do not like the size of it, let's go with a small, and now I believe it is presenting a little bit better. Okay. So with that, and by the way, why did I use the expansion over here, right? So with that, I'm going to collapse the list over here because still that might be a piece of so additional piece of information to our contact. So if you're scrolling on your phone, yeah, you might want, or the user might want to, shorten it a little bit to go through the other section that we might add later, such as job experience or so far and so forth. But Francisco, I can see that you have raised your hand.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt because I've been seeing that there's a lot of things that are very similar to what we have in the desktop designer as well, and there's also a lot of things that are very different and then work a little bit different in this. Um, Even going further from the designing of the page or in general for both functionalities, what other differences can we find or expect between the two designers, between the mobile one and the desktop or the normal one that we use?
Yep, this is also a fair question to ask, I'd say. So one of the differences we already spotted on the list component itself, right? So whenever we're going to configure it in the design time for the desktop, we rather use the component itself as a representation of what it is going to be on the form page. But uh, for the component on the mobile version, yeah, we should do it on the side panel. That's one difference. Also, this is something I wanted to do a little bit later, but actually, let's do it right now. So for the account, so on the top for the profile, the difference lays in our layout element, which is a flex container. And frankly, from the user or the mobile user standpoint, I like this change because it will not take you like space vertically. So, you won't have to scroll down like the TikTok Reels or anything else on your device. You will just have the overview of other information and maybe some additional values you will be able to read vertically. And let me explain quickly what I am talking about. So for that reason, yeah, let's scroll down and not use maybe the fields themselves, but let's use the inputs because we're going to give some more information about the account of our contact. So first of all, I'm going to drag out an image input. And as you can see, this particular container is a grid container, meaning the array, right? So we can organize how the elements are going to behave inside of it. So we can drop them one under or above another. So as I mentioned, for that, I am going to use a flex row. Again, as you know, working with Flex containers, we can change their direction from the right side panel so they can become uh, vertical or horizontal ones. And that's our go-to for this particular case. So first of all, what I would like to getting here would be the logo of the company. So for the image input, naturally, we need to refer and reach out to the proper data source, which will be the logo of our account. Yeah. So we are going to go to contact, related object, account, and account logo. Note that the image, of course, corresponds with a proper data type that is also available as a field uh, on our mobile designer, right? So if I will scroll up to the fields themselves, yeah, the image is over there. So that's one thing. So we are going with the account logo. And now, as in here, I want to store the information about the account. I'm going to drag it out and please know what happens. Also, I want to know the logo of the account itself. Let's go with the type of the account. So that is an additional information. So the data source, again, we're referring to the account, and that would be the type. Also, I would like to know, pardon my device. Uh, Also, I would like to know, please give me a second. I just have a blackout. What are the other values that could be in use? So yeah, let's go to contacts. Of course, a related object, account, and we can go as well with category of the company. Let me select it. As well as we have got category, we would like to know what is the industry. By the way, keep in mind that this particular, again, pardon my browser, that this part that we're doing and preparing right now is going to be the overview of the account, so the related object of our contact. So for that would be the industry. And the reason or the fact that we're using the uh, information from the related object, know that that's why I am using input. I am not using the fields themselves. So the last dropdown that I would like to introduce would be the industry of our company or of our contacts company. Yeah. Let me double check if the direction is horizontal. And as you can see, it is. So by the way, note that the image itself, or to understand the behavior of the flex, of the flex row that we are using right now, keep in mind that every single column that I was dragging on the right side of the previous one, it is being moved at the bottom instead of the image and industry. Yeah, they are next to each other because they take enough space on our area, on our container and phone screen itself. But as I mentioned, I don't want to waste any vertical space on my device screen. So all of this additional info about Oh, by the way, account should be first, of course, next to the picture. Yeah. So if I would like to reach out for the info of what's the industry, what's the type and the category, I'm going to go to the flex container row and I'm going to unwrap the elements. So as for now, from the standpoint of the mobile user, we will not have to scroll down, but we just have to scroll on the side to reach out to the given values, components, whatever we place there. So that's one difference. And from the standpoint of a mobile user, I love it. And another thing, or maybe the last thing I would like to mention in terms of our contacts edit page would be the attachments tab themselves, right? Because in here you can see we've got like a very, very special button. We have got a very special button, which is upload file. And that also differs a little bit from our desktop devices, because in here we have to decide what is going to be the source of the uploaded attachments, or maybe we have to determine from which standpoint we can upload the given attachment. So we can use either the camera of our device, or maybe we don't want to use the cameras of our device because of some safety policies. I don't know. That might be the case. Right. So we can select from which source the given user can reach out. If it is the camera, if it is a gallery, or maybe if it is a file browser. So we have got to determine it ourselves. Okay, so let me save our beautiful contact edit page. And the last thing to mention would be something to refer back to our list component. Yeah. So if I will let me quickly explain and refresh what I am referring to. And that would be the title column over here, right? So this will determine what will be the display of the given record. Let me close it. I don't want to save it because I already did. And let me quickly create a new page. So the next thing I want to point out before we will create a list page is that I use the tabbed page mobile, which differs in comparison to blank or record mobile page with that tab element. And of course, blank has nothing in it. But for the list page itself, it is a little bit different story because, of course, we manage our records by the lists, by the list component. And for the list, we have got this part. And those buttons, they are pre-configured. So if you will go over here, the action is execute custom mode. So this one is for quick filtration. This one is for sorting records on our list page. Next, we will have a possibility to go with the folders that we created for our records. And the last thing would be also to quick filters group so we can easily manage our records. And as for the list itself, it is going to be rather simple uh, addition to today's session is that by default, as you can see, once I've selected the contact object, by default, we've got the best matching column to be the title one, right? Because we're going to recognize the contact by their full names, and that is going to be the value that will that is going to be the value that is going to be highlighted and it's going to be, uh, best visible. No, that's not right. But it is going to be displayed and you will be able to recognize those records by that column. Of course, you can naturally change them. But what I would like to point out is that from the title columns, what we have to select will be all of the string text values. So also keep that in mind. If you would like to recognize the records through the lookup values, that might unfortunately not be the case. Okay, so that would be the last thing that I wanted to present you and share with you. Of course, keep track on our releases, on our roadmap, because I know our team is planning to add some of an amazing feature that are going to be implemented into the mobile page designer. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you, Francisco, for assisting and very, very deep questions.
You're
So
welcome.
take care and have a great day. Bye.